one thing I really learned in Puerto Rico was just the compassion that these Puerto Ricans have for all of humanity. And they were talking about, like, when we were worshiping with them, just worshiping in song, they're talking about how they don't usually do that because they feel like when we leave they're just so heartbroken and sad. And I thought that was actually really cool.
I agree with Ronnie. Just the Puerto Ricans, they're really touching, but what really hit me is just, I've really been praying about it lately, and what God's will for my life. I've prayed about it, and I think I really found it here. I've found sort of like, I want to be some sort of youth pastor, a missionary, something to do around that. It doesn't mean like a full-time missionary, part-time, just around there, be able to, I haven't really been trying to look for it exactly, like finding it in certain places. I've sort of been open to it and looking deeper in things, and that's really helped me find it. I'm pretty excited about it.
Hey, I'm Kelsey. We're on the plane ride back from Puerto Rico, and sorry it's a little bumpy, we're going through turbulence and stuff, it's kind of fun. But I just wanted to say that this week was really cool because when we were in Puerto Rico, they were speaking Spanish, and we got to worship with some Puerto Ricans, and we were singing the same songs. They were singing in Spanish and we were singing in English, but it was all to the same God, and I thought that was really, really cool that we could worship together in different languages and not know what each other's saying, but it's all to the same God, so that was really neat. I've never had that experience before, so it was really neat to experience that.
This was my first World Changers trip and my first trip out of the country. And what I've learned mostly here in Puerto Rico is that these people here have a passion for God that I think we take for granted in the States. They truly internalize their Christianity, they own it, they claim it, they live it out in everything that they do. And JD challenged us at the beginning of the week to see as God sees and understand as He understands, you know, other people and our situations, and that's what I've learned, and that's what I'm going to try to do when I get back.
Well, this week has definitely been an amazing week. Like Dan said, what I've observed as well is that the Puerto Ricans here have an amazing passionate love for Christ, and it's definitely evident in the words they speak and their actions, and it's just been awesome to see how much they, just everything here just seems so calm, and it's just so real, and it's just not so fast-paced and rushed, and it's just been really, to me, a gentle reminder this week that, you know, I want to be like that too, and not be so rushed where I don't have time for God, you know, consistently, because some days it just seems like that. You get caught up in your schedule and just different things going on, and it's kind of been a gentle reminder for me this week to slow down, be still, and listen, you know, and spend time with God. So, but it's been an amazing week that I'll definitely never forget.
One thing that's really inspired me since we've been in Puerto Rico is just the fact that we have been able to fellowship and bond with the Puerto Ricans here, even though there's a huge language barrier. And I just find it really amazing that even though we can't communicate always through language, God will give us different ways we can communicate and fellowship, and I just think that's really amazing, and it really touches me.
Yep. Like today we went out and evangelized in the neighborhood where we were working on the house, and a girl Lisette on our crew was talking to this lady in Spanish, and we couldn't understand a word she was saying, but it was still moved, and I actually ended up crying because she gave her life to Jesus, and it was just
it was really good.
This week in Puerto Rico, I learned a lot about Puerto Rican culture and how they get by with what seems like so much less than us, I guess, but the worship that they have and everything, when we're in there singing and everything with them, they're just, I don't know what the ratios are, but it's like they have 4 rows of people that sing louder than every other, you know, American in the entire building, and it's really impressive to see that and how, I guess, connected they are with God, and it really kind of puts things in perspective as far as, you know, we have all these, you know, iPods and all this kind of stuff, but you know, we really just don't need it. We haven't had our iPods all week, and we've gotten, you know, because of that, I think everyone's going a whole lot closer to God this week.
This week I learned, well, first of all, normally when you go on World Changers you do a lot of like physically demanding things, and when I found out we were painting, I was kind of bummed because, you know, I wanted to build a house. But I learned that, you know,
everything that I do is, you know, for Jesus, and I should have a good attitude about it and not complain about it, because it's got to be done, so I might as well be the one to do it. And actually, it's been a lot more demanding than I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, God taught me, you know, whatever I'm doing, it's for Him, so that's it.
And there was this man, and he was cleaning the yard, and so we started talking to him, and telling him why we were here, and he started to look really interested, and just kind of like he had hope. But right as we started talking to him, this older man came up and started rattling off and talking to us, and he said, you know what? You don't even need to talk to this guy. He's just here working for me. He's like, I don't even pay him. I just pay him in beer. And the guy who was working for him looked just really upset and really downcast, and we didn't know what to do, because the old man just, you know, he just wouldn't stop talking. But he ended up inviting us into his house, and when he did, one of the Puerto Ricans stayed behind and began talking to the other guy. And so when we went in the house, the man was just asking us about what we were doing and everything, and by the time we had come back out of the house, the other man had accepted Christ. And it was so exciting to see, because his testimony was that he had been in jail and he was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and his kids weren't around him anymore, and now he has the hope of Christ, and that was probably the most memorable thing that happened with me this trip.
One thing that I learned this week actually came from a story that a friend told me. It was actually our crew chief, Brian. He was talking to us about a couple World Changers a couple years ago. He made a commitment with God. He said, you know, I just want you to take everything that I don't need out of my life and just give me the things that I need, and that's all I want. I don't need anything else. And, you know, a couple months went by, and he had kind of forgotten about the prayer that he had prayed. And he lost his job. And then, you know, a couple days later, his girlfriend breaks up with him, and all these bad things start happening to him. He ended up losing his car, and he was pretty much down to nothing. He dropped out of school and didn't have anything. And he was kind of just sitting on the floor like, you know, what's going on? And then he remembered this prayer that he had prayed. And he remembered how he had asked for all of those things to be gone. And at that moment, he realized, you know, God is constant. He's gonna be the same no matter what. If He makes a commitment with you, He's gonna hold true to it. And that was kind of the thing that I mean, I've learned a lot of things, but that was the main thing that I took home, was that God's never gonna change. I mean, sometimes we might get mad with God and get upset, but it's because we change, not because of things that God have done. So that's my main thing that I've taken home from this trip.
I think the coolest thing that happened on the Puerto Rico trip for me was when we got our cell phones taken up and locked away in the storage place. I don't know. But anyways, they took them because they don't want you being distracted, and it's cool because you're like disconnected from everything, and you're all focused on God and what you need to learn, and you can actually sit there and listen to God. And I thought it was really cool because I've never really taken the time to stop and listen to God. And I actually did that when I didn't have my phone, because I probably would have been texting people or just like calling people. I don't know. It was just really cool though, because it was very impactful.
Hey, okay, so the most important thing that I learned on this trip was that even though we have that language barrier between English and Spanish, still I could communicate and understand what people mean, and I think that's really just because they have the Holy Spirit in them.
And we just want to thank you for helping us go on this trip to Puerto Rico, on our way back on the plane. We just want to thank you for your support and prayers and all that you guys did to make this happen. And I just wanted to share a verse with you out of Matthew chapter 9. It says this: Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he was moved with compassion for them, because they're harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." You know, God used us this week to send out workers in the harvest field, and maybe sometime God can use you to do the same. And again, we just want to thank you for helping send us to a wonderful place in Puerto Rico, for all your support, all your prayers, and thanks for going with us.
Everything that I keep missing, give me your love for humanity.